It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Hello, you're watching the ECTV Forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week. Want to thank you for joining us. It's being brought to you by Hayes Med. And this week our show is with Dmitry Gimon. Did I get it right?
Yes,
I
that's
did.
correct.
And I should put doctor in front of your name too, shouldn't I? Well, you
Excellent.
earned it, didn't you?
Well, yes.
You do a lot of schooling. Now, Dmitry is in the United States, and he's also teaching at the informatics department at Fort Hays State University. And you've got this great, I guess, Codeathon or Hackathon, or let me look at some of the other Code Fest, Hack Day, Hack Fest. There's a lot of terms being tossed around out there, and we want to talk about the event and a group of students that are getting recognized nationally. We want to get to that here in a little bit, but I know a lot of people like to meet people new to the university and new to the area, and like to, in the first part of the show, maybe talk to you a little bit and learn a little bit about you and your experiences. Now, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Moscow, Russia.
So it was a big city.
Yes, it was.
What's the population in Moscow?
I think
Yeah, I don't
it's kind
get
of
you off
about
guard with that.
12 million.
So it's a rather large.
Yeah, it's very large, but they never, I think, know exactly what's the number of people.
What's some of the things you did when you were growing up?
I went to school there. I enjoy having all my family and friends around me, so it's a pretty interesting experience.
Now, you are here at Fort Hays State University, and how did you get the education and background into the coding and now teaching in the informatics department?
Well, that's actually a pretty interesting story, because my father, he was a programmer, and so is my brother, who was very interested in programming. And I was looking at them, and I decided that it's something that I'm interested in too. And so it was maybe when I was 10 or 11, I started coding the first time.
Is it a lot like in the United States, where your parents may do it or your brother does it, and you decide, well, I'm going to do that career too, and you just kind of follow in their footsteps?
It could be, but my other brother is a professor of history, so he didn't follow that track.
So you followed kind of both their tracks, because you also are professors, so you kind of worked into everybody.
Yeah,
a little
you
bit.
can say that.
So where did you go to school at?
I went to school in Russia, and the school was called Russian State University of Oil and Gas. So it was an engineering school focused on oil and gas industries.
Is it known as a big university in Moscow or in Russia?
It's a relatively big university. It's the main university in this field in Russia.
Now, universities over in Russia, are they similar to universities in America, where they have your football teams and your sports teams and stuff like that?
I think some of them do, but I think that college sport is a lot bigger here. So we had teams for major sports there, but I don't think that it was that popular among somebody else, but the players, their friends, and their girlfriends and boyfriends.
What about the campuses in Moscow or even in Russia? What are the differences? What would you see as different, maybe in education, from in the United States?
It's a very good question, because looking at the campuses here, I really like visiting any campuses in the United States, and I think the main difference is that the majority of the schools are located in the big cities in Russia. So that's why the campuses are more like city universities, where you have several buildings, but they don't really stand out as a separate campus. With several exceptions. For example, Moscow State University takes a lot of space, and it's a big building. You probably have seen. It's one of the Stalin skyscraper. So it's surrounded by a lot of smaller buildings, and this is more like American-style campus. While the school I graduated from has more like just several buildings next to each other, which just, if you don't know that this is a school, you won't tell just by walking by. Do the students have the same kind of activities that they would have in the United States, like pep rallies and all the students getting together for certain events? Do they do that over there too? They do, but I probably was too nerdy to participate in that, so I don't know a lot about that. But in the United States, there's students like that as well, so don't feel too bad about that. Now, how did you got your PhD in Russia, or did you get your PhD in the United States? I get my PhD in Russia.
And then how did it come about that you got the job here at Fort Hays State University? Were there other universities before Fort Hays that you taught at?
Yes, I came, my first job abroad, actually I did a couple of short-term work, but my first serious job was a postdoctoral position in Montreal, in Canada. And I was working in Concordia University, and I worked there for 2 years, and I had some teaching experience. And then I moved to the United States because my wife is from the United States. And I worked in the company for half of a year, and then I got this job at Fort Hays State University.
So how long have you been in the United States?
Since, that's a good question.
Yeah, well.
For a year and a half.
Oh, a year and a half. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit. When you came to the United States, what was, because I think a lot of people watching always want to know when somebody comes to the United States, what's their first impression? What do they see? What do they see as differences compared to the country they grew up in?
I think my first impression, because the first town I visited when I came to the United States was in Ann Arbor in Michigan. And so it is a college town, and my first impression was actually all this, like how the campus looked like, how the college town culture looked like, and that actually, I think that set me on the idea that I want to work in American academia, and was one of the strongest impressions.
Now, when did you learn English? Did you learn that growing up, or did you learn that once you kind of got into your transition in the university?
I started learning it in the middle school.
What, middle school?
Middle school, and then I have been learning it for a while, and obviously the main, my best improvement in English was once I started dating my wife, my girlfriend at that time, because when you need to go into all these conversations, you get a lot of experience.
Well, they say that immersion into it and the culture kind of helps you quite a bit.
Absolutely.
So you've come a long way, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what we want to do is we want to talk to you a little bit more about Fort Hays State University. How did that job come about?
I applied for that job a long time ago, actually, even maybe before I came to the United States. And I think, as I remember, because when I saw this job post, I was really excited about that because I felt like I perfectly fit to this position because it was half in web development, which I have been doing just for earning money for many years, and at the same time my research experience was in management information systems, and they were looking for somebody who can work half in web and half in MIS, and that's why I was very excited when I saw this job for the first time. And I think they contacted me maybe a year after I applied, something because there was somebody who took the temporary position. I don't know all the details, but and once I get the invitation for the phone interview, I was very excited because I thought it's the right place.
And your wife thought, what about coming to Hays, Kansas? Was she okay with it, or a little nervous at first?
She was nervous.
Yeah, very nervous at first. Well, thank you for coming here and kind of sharing that with me. How many classes do you teach a semester?
I teach 4 classes now.
4 classes now per semester?
Yes.
And what are the classes you're teaching?
This semester I teach collaboration systems, and I teach Android development, and I teach data and communications, and I teach leadership in information systems.
Good. So you've got a busy schedule.
Yes.
And also advising students too sometimes along the way.
I didn't get into advising
yet
because I'm a new faculty, but I will definitely have it. But I have a lot of service activities to do.
Very good, and thank you for coming by today. What we're going to do is we're going to talk to you a little bit in the second half of the show about this cool event that you guys have already qualified for at Fort Hays State University, and the team that you're taking to the state of Washington, and how that all came about. And so we'll get into that in the second part of the show, all right?
Thank you.
All right, our guest today is Dr. Dmitry Gimon. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Gotta make sure I got it right. He is our guest today here on the forum. And again, the forum brought to you by Hays Med. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Sharman. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Youthful body, tight tummy, smooth facial lines. Greystone Cosmetic and Reconstructive Surgery is here to help you achieve your goals and give yourself the new look you've always wanted. Greystone offers sophisticated surgical and non-surgical cosmetic procedures. With services now available locally, there's no need to wait any longer. Contact Greystone Cosmetic and Reconstructive Surgery at Hays Medical Center today or online at greystonecosmetic.haysmed.com.
It's a beautiful day in our super high-speed internet great customer service neighborhood. Like you, this is where we live. In fact, our company is employee-owned, so it's our goal to improve the quality of life for everyone in our community by delivering faster, more reliable internet, clearer, more feature-laden phone service, quality TV channels, all with the level of customer service you'd expect from people who are your neighbors. Eagle Communications. Our community connected.
Welcome back. This is the ECTV Forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week. If you've got guest ideas, show ideas, Gary would love to hear from you, or even comments. It's gary.shorman@eaglecom.net. Again, that's gary.shorman@eaglecom.net. He would love to hear from you. The show brought to you by Hayes Med. By the way, you can also look at some previous shows, guest people that have been on the show in the past. You can go to our Facebook page. It's ECTV Forum on Facebook. You can do that search and find us there. Our guest today is Dr. Dmitry Gimon, and he is from Fort Hays State University, the informatics department, and teaching some classes, 4 classes. We got that out of you the last time around at Fort Hays State University, and moved here from Moscow. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about in the second half of the show is this, I guess we call it Hack Day, Hack Fest, Code Fest. There's a lot of different terms for it. And what happened was you put a team together at Fort Hays State University, and you qualified with Microsoft to take this team to state of Washington, to where Microsoft is, and kind of compete with some other schools. Now, what did you have to do to get to this point? Did you have to submit some I guess, ideas, or did you have to go in and do some code breaking, or what did you have to do to get there?
Sure. To get to this point, we had to, the students had to come up with their idea of a good mobile application for the Windows mobile phones platform, and put it together as a concept plan, and they also had to prepare a video that will talk about this idea and about the team. And
how did you find out about it originally, that it needed to be done and that your team could even compete in this?
That's a good question. So I was approached by our dean, and he asked me if I'm interested to take leadership in this issue. So I don't know the story behind that, but as a new faculty, it's probably happened before I came here.
So you got the project and you ran with it. And
yeah, absolutely.
So how did you get the team of 4 together? Did you pick certain students in particular, or did you have to ask around a little bit?
Ask around, because as a new faculty I didn't know a lot of students and I didn't know a lot of people in school, so I just went to ask my colleagues in the department and in the Department of Computer Science to recommend me any students, and then I talked to them, and I felt that they will fit as a good team.
And they got all excited about this, and you told them about the event and what needed to be done. So what's the procedure to get now qualified to go to this in Washington State?
Okay, the procedure was the following. So they picked up 25 schools around the country, and as I understand, their goal was to support diversity, so they pick up very different schools and from different states and different sizes. And then we had to submit this proposal that I mentioned before, and after that, based on some criteria of selections, they pick up 12 teams as a finalist, and Fort Hays State University team was one of them.
So there's 12 teams that are going to be going to Washington State now?
That's correct.
And are they all teams of 4?
Yes, that was the rule.
And so your students are working on this, you've got the project done, and now when you go to Washington State, when is that trip going to happen?
It will be 12th to 14th of November.
Okay, so what will happen when your team goes to Washington State to the Microsoft headquarters?
We are going to present the actual implementation or a prototype of the mobile app that they have proposed.
And now what's this model app look like?
That's a very good question, and it's a very sensitive question, because it's an application procedure and we are not allowed to disclose the idea.
Okay.
But I would be very happy to share it, but I don't think that I have a permission of my team to do that.
I don't want you to go to jail or anything. So.
No, that won't be jail. I just don't want other teams to pick up our idea.
Sure. So you'll go up and you'll do your presentation, you'll show what you have, and then what will they do? Will they pick a top team that's a winner, or will they place you in a 1 through 4?
I think that what they are going to do, they are going to select the winner on this next stage.
Now, what happens when you win it? Do you get $1 million or something like
almost. I think they are going to give us $70,000 scholarships for the winning team.
that? Oh, wow, that's pretty good then. So, and you'll get some recognition, and Fort Hays would get recognition too. So we're kind of rooting for you guys.
Thank you.
And so that's happening in November, and you'll be flying up there a few days in advance, and probably taking a tour too of Microsoft while you're there.
I hope so.
So anything that they're all looking forward to on the team? Anything that they're really talking about?
Absolutely. They're all very excited about that, and I kind of even get a couple of ideas from our team members where they want to go around in Seattle or around, because it's a big thing for our students and for me to go there and to represent our school.
I think it's a great thing for the students too. They get a chance to broaden their horizons a little bit and also work competitively against other schools around the country.
Absolutely.
So good luck to you guys.
Thank you very much.
So again, our guest today, want to thank him for being here. It's Dr. Dmitry Gimon. He's from Fort Hays State University in the informatics department. And again, if you've got any guest ideas or show ideas, we'd love to hear from you here at the Forum being brought to you by Hays Med. I'm Mike Kerner, and for Gary Shorman, thanks for being here with the show, with us today on the show. So see you later.
Youthful body, tight tummy, smooth facial lines. Greystone Cosmetic and Reconstructive Surgery is here to help you achieve your goals and give yourself the new look you've always wanted. Greystone offers sophisticated surgical and non-surgical cosmetic procedures. With services now available locally, there's no need to wait any longer. Contact Greystone Cosmetic and Reconstructive Surgery at Hays Medical Center today or online at greystonecosmetic.haysmed.com.